What's up, world? You are welcome to Nestele. So today I'm discussing a book I will give you something to cry about. Okay, so it's the memoir of a daughter's struggle to survive a mother with paranoia, schizophrenia, and manic depression. So, of course, to know more about this book, don't forget to grab your popcorn, grab your friend, grab your seat, and sit down and let us talk. Okay, so if this is your first time here, it's me, Nez. Welcome to Nestele. 2 times every week we have a book that we discuss. Every Monday and Friday you come on by and you can find a new book to talk about. Then you can decide if you want to read it or not. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button so that you can get a notification to know the next book that we would likely to be discussing. Alright, and then of course don't forget to like this video when we are done. And of course, dear subscribers, I love you guys. Constantly coming back here, constantly trying to improve, constantly trying to decide what book that you should read. Much love to you. Thank you so much. So let's get into the meat. This book, I'll give you something to cry about. First of all, when I read this book, I thought like, you know, well, it's written by a lady called Elizabeth Acker. She's in the US, she's white. And a lot of times I just thought to myself, like, this woman is not really saying anything that different from what us Nigerian kids went through. Like, she got spanked a lot, she was asked to do work, like what I call the firstborn syndrome. As a firstborn, you get to do so much work. But you know, having to listen to a lot of firstborn talk about how upsetting it was for them, especially when they let the younger ones go till tomorrow, like even till now, they still hold them to a higher expectation. That is something I think that is actually quite a struggle for a lot of people. So the lady basically talks about what her life was like growing up. Now let me give you a general overview. Her story is her dad and her mom got a divorce from the beginning of the story. So from when she was 5 years old, she had divorced parents. She was living with her mom, who was staying with her own mom. So she was living with her grandparents with her mom, and basically her mom made her insist that she stayed with her during the divorce proceedings, and basically told her that her dad didn't care anything about her, did not want her as a child, did not want a daughter, didn't even want a child to begin with, and then did not want a child, did not want a girl. And basically you told her that your father doesn't want anything to do with you, stay with me. And she did that. At this point she was like 5 years old. So the mother goes on, gets married, and has another family while she moved in with her this thing. In fact, the new husband that the mother married adopted them, so she took on her new father's name, though Acker is actually her original father's name. I hope I'm not confusing you yet. Stay with me, I'm still here. So, but that's basically the general overview. So I'm going to pick out what I'll call the major events that happened in this story, because in the end, while the story sounded a lot like what a lot of us African kids went through, some of these things were actually very traumatizing. Even for me, listening to it, it was scary. So I think one of the things that jolted me to begin with was the fact that she was about, I think, 10 years old or 9 years old when her mother gave birth to another child for her new dad. And when that child was about a month old, she was the one that was caring for the child. Like, she would wake up in the night and be taking care of the child, and she was getting spanked with a belt and all that because she didn't do it. So at night, you know, I don't know, parents out here, if you've had a child before, the waking up, the bottle feeds in the night when the child cries, where you have to change the child 3 to 4 times a night. She was one doing this, and she was still going to school. So yeah, that I think was actually plenty. I don't know anybody so far in Nigeria that went through this when their parents were around. I don't know that, so it's actually an extreme. But let me start from the stories. Number one was, okay, there was a story of, I call this one the ping pong bat story. When she was about 12 years old, she was doing dishes with her mom, and her mom told her not to drop oil. No, not doing dishes. She was cooking. She started cooking for when she was very young. She's going when she was 9 years old. Okay. Oh, there's another story to that one. I think one day she was peeling potato the wrong way, and her mom, to show her the way to do it, because she wasn't getting it in the mom's eye, the mother collected the potato peeler, and I don't know if you know a potato peeler, the edge, the sharp end, and pricked holes on her hand. So it's like blood came out of her hand, and she told her to go and wash her hand and take it back and come and continue peeling the potato. You know, interesting stuff. That's all I have to say. But the ping pong backstory happened a few years after that, when she was like 12. Her mother told her not to pour oil on the floor, or she don't let the oil pour on the floor. And she said, as the mother was saying it, the oil fell on the floor. Bam! Something like that, like a drop fell on the floor, on the linoleum. And the mother picks up a ping pong bat. Now, ping pong bats, you know, a lot of us here in Nigeria know it as table tennis. Picked up the table tennis bat, leaned her over a chair in the sitting room, and started spanking her. She said that all she could remember was how she was looking at her stepdad for the stepdad to save her, and the stepdad was just there reading newspaper and drinking beer and did absolutely nothing. I felt like this was, I think, the part that I found very baffling for me. Like, the father clearly wasn't very comfortable with the way the mother was treating her own kids. But he did nothing about it. He just acted like, well, it's her problem, it's their wahala. Me, I don't want wahala. You all do what you got to do. So that, I think, was a problem. Anyway, but that's besides the point. I'm not here to judge the dad. I'm not here to judge anybody. But basically, the woman collected this table tennis bat, that round flat thing, and spanked this girl until the thing shattered into pieces. She had to go back to school the next day. Thankfully, the spanking stopped when she was around that kind of 13, because one day she entered the school bus. The mother had shoved her down the stairs in between doing something. Like, she had grabbed some parts of her hair, and she actually lost some hair. And she was trying to get her to stop crying so that she can hurry up and go and take the bus and go. And in the process of telling her to hurry up, she kicked her. So she fell down the stairs. So she went to the hospital. So she didn't go to the hospital. She went to school. The school bus driver saw her crying and then parked the bus and followed her to school and went to tell the counselor. The counselor called health services. Health services called police, and that's how they came to the mother's house. The mother was so upset how they were embarrassing her. The mother had a very skewed idea of what mattered, how they were embarrassing her, blah blah blah, and basically, but the spanking stopped, even though she was still getting maltreated. Like, she locked her up in the basement, told her she wasn't part of the family anymore, that she would never do it. And the girl was happy. That's the thing. What she was calling the girl punishment was basically the girl not doing any housework, and she was happy. So that was number one. The ping pong conversation, I think that was very scary. That was, wow, how do you smash? I don't know if you know what a ping pong looks like. That's a table tennis bat. That thing is for playing, that thing is for hitting the ball. That thing, how that thing can scatter on somebody's body, that's crazy. So that was something. That was number one. Number two was, okay, she started seeing this guy, and then the mother called the guy. Like, one day, when the mother thought that she had gone to drop the girl somewhere, the girl basically went to the boy's house to chill because she didn't want to go. The mother called the boy, found the boy's name in a phone book directly. Now, I'm talking of this girl's story. This woman now, Elizabeth Acker, is much older. She's talking about this story. This thing that happened like in the 70s in the US, 1970s, 1980s. Like, she finished school she left her house in 1985. So you can imagine this happened in the 70s. So when she was like 16 at this point, she had a boyfriend. She was trying to visit the boyfriend, and this woman opens the phone book directly, finds the boy's number, and calls the boy and starts saying horrible thing about her daughter. That her daughter goes out having orgies, is with like 6 men at the same time. The woman is useless. I don't want you to be with her. But she didn't say I don't want you to be with her, but basically said horrible things about the daughter. So, like, these were things I felt like were very scary. Like, what mom does this to her daughter? If she didn't want her to be with the man, why couldn't she just tell her don't be with the man and all that? And another thing she did a lot was call her daughter stupid. She told her daughter she's never going to amount to anything. She cannot even go to college, that she should go and join the Air Force or something very random and stupid. And I couldn't understand the severe emotion she had towards this girl, because with her other kids she was different. Like, she used to allow a lot of foreign exchange students come and stay in her house, and she was nicer to them. I just couldn't understand why she was like that with her. That's a problem for me. Anyway, that was number one. Now, another one was the time when she had this fever. The fever was so bad that she started convulsing. I don't know. Like, an convulsion to be something that happens to kids 2 years and below or 3 years and below. Doctors in the house, please answer me, I beg. Leave a comment below. Let me know if I'm wrong. She was also around that kind of 16, 17 when this one happened. Her fever was so high that she started convulsing. And the woman was like, I'm not going to take you to hospital. Who do you even think you are? You're pretending. Basically, yeah, she was like, the girl is pretending. It was the dad that actually said that if something is wrong, take this girl to the hospital. So he offered to do it. So the mother, to not sound like somebody that was bad for not taking her daughter there, took her to the hospital in the car, shouting at her the whole time, what's wrong with you? That's you. Better tell me whether we should take you or not. The woman was just strange. Eventually went to the hospital, and she had a bacterial infection that was making her to convulse. Literally, she convulsed 3 times before she got to the hospital from too much heat. If you know anything about fever, it's basically your body trying to fight the fever. That's what makes you to convulse. But I don't know it to happen. That's from fever to happen to children. That's to happen to people older than like 2 to 3 years old. So I was like, wow. So those are the major things I think that stood out for me. Well, I must say, this book, I felt a little shortchanged, because, she talked about surviving a mom that had paranoia, manic depression, and schizophrenia. And she did not mention this in the book. Now, at one point, the mother did go and check herself in the hospital when they're talking about how her daughter was stressing her daughter doesn't appreciate her, and all that. And she made it about the daughter. So there was never a time when we said, okay, this was the diagnosis. And there was no time when they said, okay, this was now the medication that she actually started taking medication after she after she went to hospital. But I was waiting for the punchline. But that being said, this story is something else. Should you read it? Do you have 14 hours in your life to spare? If you do, fine, you should read the book. I read it on script. I listened to it on script. It's a 14-hour book. No joke. No joke at all. it was something else. I was like, wow, okay, this ain't no joke. These people have off my lights. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that I can get a notification. Then please leave a comment below and like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.